Hello Ghosts and Jammy Gamers, welcome to another video today around Breakpoint. So first Breakpoint video, but it's a big tips video for new players and returning players. The things that I wish I knew when starting out. Now my research, things like that, has gotten me a list of about 50 odd tips. We're not going to cover them all in this one. I'm going to try and filter them down, make them quick and snappy because I know everybody's busy and we want to move on to the next clip. So, firstly, whilst this video plays on in the background, good thing to know is that Breakpoint isn't a bad game. It might have been on release, and I think that's where a lot of the online hate still stems from, is that people were disappointed. Maybe they hurt your feelings by releasing a unpolished or maybe a slightly, in your opinion, broken game. But now they've pumped so much time in it, so many resources since release. It's actually a really good game. So first tip would be get the game. It's actually a really good, solid performing game nowadays with a lot of customizable elements, which we'll go over here and there throughout the next few minutes. Right, let's move on to number 2. So again, this is quite a nice easy one, number 2, but it's quite essential for those new starters. So different from Wildlands, you don't have safe houses, but you do have safe areas. They're called bivouacs and they're marked up on the map. Now they are quite easy to find. Here on the map you can see they're the little triangles, they're almost pulsating, and they're going to be your fast travel routes. It is a massive map, so you're going to have to use them. They're identifiable with smoke on the horizon, and I'll show you that in a minute. But here is going to be tip number 3. In the bottom left hand corner there, just like Wildlands, you've got all the game tips. Now, being a new player, definitely recommend flicking through those on the loading screens, as they can give you some really good tips. So yeah, don't forsake them or overlook them. Number 4 then, so really something that I found quite confusing, maybe because I didn't look at the skills tutorial, still haven't, you can see in the top left there, but your classes here are separate from the perks up above and the skills up above. Now, perks are a thing, so let's not get confused. There's skills up above, which are a variety of different things I'll show you in a second. But the actual skills down there, the classes, sorry, they're different for each playstyle. Almost the RPG game that they were trying to build. Now here you got all your different arms as well. You spend points, whether it's 1 or 2 in each category, sometimes a little bit more when you go throughout the game. And it unlocks these different arms. Have a good read of them when you do have time. And then just start to go towards the sort of playstyle that you want. So then you've got your class. And then just go have a look at these skills and really pick what's best for you. There's some in there that you're not really going to need, depending on what game mode you choose, which we'll go over in a minute. And you've got those 4 different type of skills. You've got your passives, which are on all the time, your abilities, which you need to activate, your consumables, things like the rocket launcher, and your perks. And you have certain perk slots. Up to 3, you need to unlock them, so let's not waste them. Now, looking at the Panther class in more detail, all the classes are structured just like this. The first 10 levels are aimed at the early days of the game on release, and there's a further 10 levels that they've released since. Now, each class is like that. The Panther one is people's favourite, but you do get skill points as well as free consumable unlocks for those, so don't overlook them. Then here, once you get all of the skills, all of the classes unlocked, you can then start going through the weapon mastery, which, as you can see, is just free skills, right? It's free bumps on the ones that you want for your particular favoured class. Now, you'll get enough points when you go all the way through to max level to fully customise at least 2 of those, if not more. I just need to do a little bit more research and a little more leveling myself to find out definite, but the skill points are up there. That's how you get even more, so give it a go. Here, you can see the bivouacs on the horizon. Those are the ones that you're going to want to go to. They're nice, quick, and easy to find. But let's have a little bit more of an explore around the bivouacs, because they are a little bit of a new mechanic if you're used to playing Wildlands like I was. You can just zip around in a helicopter, just unlock them all really quickly. That will take you a good while. The map's huge. Now, jumping in, we've done the bivouac. You can skip it. You go to preparations, and each of these give you a particular buff. Now, these buffs are capped. We'll show you the stats screen towards the end of the video. But these buffs are really quite handy. And they're for free, so why not use them? The XP one is something that you'll probably use, and I'd recommend you use for the majority, just bumping up those levels. Now, in the bivouac as well, this is a place where you can change your class. You need to be at a bivouac or the main camp, everyone, to actually be able to swap your class. Otherwise, you're just going to be able to go in and have a look at your class missions to help level them up. Your crafting, things like that, absolutely can be done on this menu. I'm not a big fan of these sort of edible consumables, but all the explosives, things like that, I do like to keep topped up. Ideally, I like to do it here in the store. Now you need to turn this setting on in the main settings screen in the bivouac section. You've got your consumables there, your explosives, things like that. Top up, cash is not an issue late game, but you know, that's where you can get blueprints, that's where you can get items, that's where you can get your apparel stuff. You can also sell things back. So if you get loads and loads of standard weapon parts, things like that, offload it for a little bit more cash. And I would buy the gear rather than crafting the gear, because you can craft in the wild, but buying stuff, that has to be done at bivouacs. When you're here, might as well spend your cash. Next up will be your weapon change. Now this you can do on the fly anyway, for the most part. So here are your perks, that's what we discussed earlier. Only 3 when you unlock skills. There's challenges up the top of your class. You've got some small stats there, but your weapons, you can't change on the fly, not your blueprints. You need to do that at the bivouac, and then you've got all your usual customizable stuff. The customizable stuff you can do on the fly. And then lastly, you'll have your garage option there. Now, I've already deployed this bivouac, so I can't go in and change what vehicle I want to appear at my garage. But that is a setting that you need to turn on, so you can turn it off as well. Now, when you're leaving the bivouac, you can also change what time to leave. Really, really handy. I need to test it in multiplayer to see if all of you need to be on the same, or if it just doesn't let you. But if you like going in night missions, this is a great way to do it. And here's some night vision, white and black. Stay tuned to see how you get white-black night vision. Now, looking at the weapons then. So the weapons you need to change at bivouacs, like I say, and that'll be if you have the blueprints already unlocked. The blueprints, there are a lot of weapons, right? And I don't like this screen, that it is just so janky and so cumbersome to try and scroll through and find what you're after. But you do have a sortable list down the bottom, and it's those blueprints that are the weapons that you can keep and customize and change and build if you're in regular mode. You can also give them to your AI friends. We'll go over that in a minute. But the ones you find on the floor, don't upgrade them. You will lose them, unlike the upgrades to your blueprint weapons. Now, AI teammates weren't introduced at release. That's what people were a little bit unhappy with, because the ones on Wildlands are pretty cool, right? You can turn them off, you can turn them on, you can have the Breakpoint ones with the DLC, you can also have the Rainbow Six Siege. You've got the missions and the on the right hand side, you've got levels on the left, all that sort of good stuff. You can even, if you go into the customize screen, customize your soldier, you can customize your AI companions, which is really quite handy, quite nice to be able to tailor them. You can completely change them if you want. I went for blue, reddy and yellowy, kind of like my little Power Ranger backups. And there are the weapons. Now these weapons are the blueprints that you have. You can just put them on your AI friends. You can't put attachments on there, but what's really cool is that their behavior in combat will change depending on what weapon they have. Now, if you have them all on snipers, they're going to stay far, far back, and they're going to snipe as many of the enemies as they can, and they'll always have an assault rifle as their backup. So if they do get into a bit of trouble and they're all got snipers, and they don't need to whack out a pistol, they will whack out the AR and do damage. But if you have one as a sniper, they'll start far back. If you have a shotgun, like I just put on there, they're going to push forward, get in the face of the enemy. If you put on a light machine gun, it's that mid-range suppressing sort of role. If you put on an AR, not much point because they've got an AR as a backup anyway. But submachine gun, they're going to try and close the gap as well. Okay, so it's up to you what you want to try to use, if you'd use them at all. What I've loved is having them all on a DMR, because you put them onto fire at will. When you're flying a chopper around, they will annihilate, almost like cheat mode, an enemy base. Now if we go over to this left hand side, we actually need to go onto the lobby. This is where you can toggle who you want on and off. So if you only want 2 companions, if you only want 1 companion, you can turn it off here. So you don't need any, just go solo. You can just choose to have 1, you can choose to have 2, or you can choose to have 3. It's entirely up to you. So actually the amount of bending and flexing is actually really, really good. I think it's really interesting. They're not the smartest AI, fine, but they do definitely help if you want a more casual gameplay. Turn all the settings down, turn the HUD up, difficulty down, have your AI on, and just go ham. Another cool little tip here. So if you see in the night time, we've got the white, black night vision on again, but you see the flashlights? They're flashlights, or torches if you're in the UK. They shine through walls. Now this is for your lower level enemies. It's actually really handy. It is a bit glitchy, it is a bit buggy, but feel free to take advantage of it. Just heavies and wolves don't have these torches attached to them, attached to their vests. So those guys are still going to be quite well hidden to a degree. Looking at night vision again then, so a lot of your stealth gameplay is probably going to be done at night. Now that white-black camo, that's actually from a headset that I'm going to show you right now. Now what's pretty cool is that you can buy it from the store. You don't need to buy it from the Ubisoft store and spend real money. There are 3 other options that you can do, but you don't need to. Now some face masks can actually go over the top of those night vision goggles, which is actually pretty cool. It gives that flexibility in terms of customizing your soldier, which is quite handy. Now looking at the attachments, so you've got the certain lasers do certain jobs. Now during the day, this laser is so important, but at night it can just be too blinding. Let's have a little look. We've got the mall laser. Now that one, it can just shine up the enemies far too bright, so you can't see anything. Now this one is actually more accurate. It's more as a pinpoint. Yes, it lights up the area a little bit more, but it's more pinpoint. You can just use it at night a little bit better for forsaking some stabs, just quickly. But now the tri laser, just whilst we're here, let's have a little look. So this one is not as good. It's not as bold. It's not as clear. It's just not as useful. Going on to the objectives board. So absolutely bane of my life when I first started. It was so hard to try and find what I needed. You can flick between these tabs relatively easy. And here in investigations is a nice little bonus tip. So all of these I actually been neglecting quite a lot. But these are just going to be the collectibles that you find around the map. Are going to feed into this investigation tab, and actually it's free XP just for doing the collectibles, so keep an eye on it, go through now and again and grab that XP, because why wouldn't you? Now what's really annoying as well with a limited HUD that I play with, you've also got all of these specific mission intels, but for missions sometimes it doesn't tell you, or if you don't have the HUD on with the mission pop-ups, it doesn't tell you to read the intel, but you're going to have to come into this page, onto this ops board, objectives board, to actually read them. Right pain. We'll touch on conquest in a minute, but these faction missions are more, if you're going to have side missions to your side missions, that's kind of what these are if you're just playing on the regular maps. But they do reset every day. They are pretty good. They give you XP, they give you resources, and late game when you have ticked off all the rest of the bits and bobs that you need, it's pretty good. And if you're looking for those AR assault rifle parts or the high-end weapon parts, elite weapon parts, you can find them popping up in these daily missions. Moving on to settings then, I'm not going to do a deep dive because there's just so much. It can be a little bit overwhelming, but you have the difference there between regular and immersive. Now immersive is going to be most people's go-to, and the settings, like I say, they're just huge. You can spend a whole lot of time just reading them, tweaking with them. To start with guys, the tip would be just to have it all on. Full HUD, full tutorial, full quest log, absolutely everything. Get used to how the guns feel, get used to how the chest systems work and the loot system, and then start peeling it back for a more immersive gameplay. It is a big game, there are a lot of settings, there are a lot of mechanics all flying around all at the same time, but just taking the time to tweak it piece by piece to find the right level for you, for what's enjoyable for you, that's the right way of playing the game, not just following blindly what some bloke on YouTube thinks. So that's it guys, that's all of the tips and tricks on things to consider this time around. Let us know if you've got any additional ones. Like I say, I've got a lot banked and a lot more to come. But this was my first attempt at a Breakpoint video. It's not a lot of gameplay, it's not a lot of particularly in-depth expert opinions, but it's things for new players, returning players, even veteran players that you may not have known before, and it's really hopefully more enjoyable than some of the others out there. But let us know what you think. Like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff, and we'll catch you on the next one. Thank you. Goodbye.